Tori here today with a really fun Christmas card tutorial for Wild Whisper, and I'm really excited about it because I'm going to get to play with the Wild Whisper Home for the Holiday stamp set, which I designed, or I helped design, and I'm really excited about it because as soon as I pulled it out of the packaging, I was like, as soon as I got it in the mail, I was like, I have to play with this. I have to make some Christmas cards, so I'm really excited. And I thought it would be fun to make some super simple Christmas cards just using the stamp and make some like one layer cards. So you don't need a ton of supplies. You just need your stamp and your inks and a card base, and that's it. And I thought it would just be really fun to make some super simple Christmas cards using the stamp set. So I have pulled out some, it's not really white, it's more like a cream colored card base. I just buy them pre-cut and pre-folded, but you could also just cut up some cardstock if you have it. And I pulled out my Home for the Holidays 4x6 stamp set, and I pulled out a couple acrylic blocks and some of my inks. So I'm not really sure which inks I'm going to play with. I just decided to pull out a bunch of them. So I pulled out all of my Color Theory inks, and then also this Illustrated Faith black ink. And I'm not sure how many cards I'm going to make. I think I'm just going to play and bring you guys along for the ride is kind of what I was thinking about. And what I'm thinking here, oh, my fingers are already a little dirty from the inks. So what I'm thinking here is that I want to make some super simple one-layered cards. And basically a one-layer card is you don't glue or adhere anything. You really just do one layer. Like it's just the one layer that you're working on. So that's what I'm thinking of creating today. So, and we'll just kind of play and see what happens, what looks good. Okay, I'm thinking that on a couple of these cards, I just want the sentiment Christmas stamped on there with black ink, and then have some of the stars or something else kind of like around it. I think that could be really cute. So let's see. So on this one, I'm going to stamp the word Christmas like right down in the middle. Oh, and another thing I like to do when I'm making cards is kind of work on a few of them at the same time. Just because it's like a little easier and you already have your supplies out. And I already kind of like inked up the word Christmas, so why not stamp it a couple times on a few cards and just make it happen. And I'll just stamp it like in a different place on each card. So I love this little star icon, and I think it would be really fun to make a one-layer card where you have like the star icon all over the front of the card. So I'm just going to get some scrap paper and put that down. And pick a color. I think well red would be nice because it's like kind of very Christmassy. And I'm just going to ink up the stamp, and I'm going to stamp the stars all over. And what I like to do is just rotate the stamp every time. And I'm okay that some of those stamps, some of the stars are not stamping perfectly. I think that's part of the charm. And I'm kind of just fitting it in where I can. Ooh, that's super cool. Maybe it would be fun to just have it like go kind of diagonally. I could do that. Ooh, this is so cute. This star stamp is just so fun to play with. because it's got all the different size stars. So you can kind of just make your own little star cluster. And by rotating it, it gives it a different look every time. Okay, that's fun. So I've gone in with a red, and now what I think it would be fun to do is use some green and use the green to make stars on either side of that. That would be really cute. Just like change it up a little bit. So I used well red, and maybe I'll use emerald green. Just stamp it off a couple times just to make sure it's super clean. And then I'll add some green stars on either side. I think I'm going to go back in with the red, just for a little variety. Okay, there you have it. So I have one layer card. It just says Christmas in the middle, and then has all these really fun stars stamped all over. And I kind of went in a pattern red, green, red, green, red, green, which I really love. Now you'll notice that it's not perfect because the stamps don't line up perfectly, but I actually like that, and I think you could add some sequins or something to take it up a notch. So that's one, and I think I'm going to use that star stamp again, but in a different way. So I'm going to use the red again, and on this one I'm going to have it really dense at the top and then kind of more sporadic as it goes down. And there you have it. So on this one I kind of have it more dense at the top and then a little lighter at the bottom. And the great thing about the Color Theory inks is they have really great second and third stamp impressions. Like, it gets slightly lighter every time, which is really fun and created a really fun effect. So there you have two different cards using the exact same stamps. And I love how simple they are, and I feel like there's some things that you could do to take them up a notch if you really wanted to, but they're also really simple, which sometimes simple is beautiful, and we just need to like feel like it's okay not to make like the most intense card you've ever seen. Okay, let's try another one. I love this Snowflake stamp, and I think it would look really pretty with blue ink. So I'm going to use it on this card with blue, something blue ink. It's not perfect, but I am okay with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of just lining it up above the Christmas, and I'll line it up below. And I'm not stamping them lined up perfectly, but kind of close to each other. And I'm going to stamp that all the way around the word Christmas here. Okay, so another one of those cards where I've tried that multi-layer stamped effect where you go darker and then you stamp off and then you stamp off twice. And another really fun card with that snowflake one. There's another snowflake here, which I'm going to try that one. And this time I'm going to use a blank card, and I'm going to stamp it all over again, just like I did the last time. And then I'm going to stamp the sentiment on top of it. So I'm going to want to use a really light ink this time. I'm thinking Ice Ice Baby. Let's see how light that is. Okay, yeah, that's good. And I'm just going to stamp it all over the whole card. So this time I use that Ice Ice Baby ink to kind of make like a pattern paper snowflake where it's overlaying each other over and over. Just super easy to do. You just keep stamping until you fill in all the spots. And this time I'm going to use the sentence that, or the statement here that says very merry, And I'm going to use Christmas, so it'll say Very Merry Christmas. And I'm going to stamp that on top of all that other stamping that I've done. And I'm actually going to line up both stamps on the acrylic block at the same time. And I'm going to use something blue, so that dark blue ink on top of the light soft ice baby, which actually is quite appropriate for a snowflake stamp. And I'm going to stamp it right in the middle, so it'll say Very Merry Christmas. And lift up, and there you have it. Very Merry Christmas with the snowflake stamp underneath. Now I'm going to use this really pretty doily stamp, which has so much detail. It's so pretty, and I love it so much. I think the best way to stamp this would be if you had a stamp placement tool, so that if you missed any areas, you could just line it up and stamp it again. That would be my suggestion if you had one, but if you don't, you can just make sure you press really firmly and be okay if it doesn't do it perfectly. But look at how gorgeous that is. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I love that so much. Oh, it's so pretty. So what I'm going to do on this card actually is I'm going to stamp this in the well red a couple of times on the card, maybe 3 times. And then I think I'm going to fill in some of the extra places with some of the stars. So again, kind of making my own pattern paper, but with a stamp. Oh my goodness, I love this doily, mandala, snowflake, whatever you want to call it. It is so pretty and it stamps so nicely. I think it would be, if I was doing heat embossing, I feel like it would be a really pretty stamp to heat emboss. Like, can you imagine that heat embossed on vellum? Oh my gosh, it would be so pretty. So there you have it. Very Merry Christmas, and I stamped that 3 times. And I'm just going to wipe that off. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take, I think, the stars. And I'm going to stamp that in well red too, kind of filling in the spaces in between where that mandala, doily, snowflake, whatever you want to call it is. Just kind of filling in some of the spots a little bit. And again, it doesn't need to be like completely filled in. I'm just thinking it just makes it look a little more complete. Very Merry Christmas. Super cute, super simple, super cute. And I'm going to use the antlers on this one, just because they're so epic. They're like crying to be used. And I think it would be really fun to give this Very Merry Christmas some green antlers, one on either side. One there. So it'll kind of look like the Christmas is the deer, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I'll just take one on either side, a Very Merry Christmas. Boom. There we go. Look at that. Super cute. Just looks like the Very Merry Christmas is the deer with the antlers. Love it. So, that's super fun. And I think I'm going to just line those up. And on my next card, I'm going to use them together, like stamp them at the same time. And I'm actually going to use that Very Merry again, and I'm going to cut the Very Merry in the middle, so it'll have an antler on either side with Very Merry in the middle. cute. And I think this time I'll use I'll use Brick House. Just a different red to try something else out. And I'm just gonna stamp that a few times on the card, I think. Kind of making my own little pattern. So I'll do one right in the middle. Very merry. Oh, I love this red. Ooh, it's a very pretty red. It's like a, I don't know, brick color. Well, that makes sense because it's Brick House. And I'm just gonna stamp that a couple of times on the card, kind of filling in the empty spaces and making my own little pattern here. I'm gonna do that one more time with the Very Merry, but this time I'm gonna stamp one of them red and then remove the Very Merry, I think, and stamp the antlers a bunch more times, but in a different color. Maybe brown would be nice. Do I have brown? Okay. Gray it is. So I'm going to use Power Suit to get some gray antlers on here. So on that one, I created like a repeating pattern with the antlers, and then one of them is red, which is really fun too. Simple, easy, cute. Okay, I'm going to create one more card, and on this one I'm going to use this XOXOXO. And I'm going to stamp XOXO repeating in the gray color. And then one time on here, the pattern is going to be the Brick House. So I think I want the Brick House right about there. And I feel like when you're doing one layer cards, some of the ways that you can create interest is by doing repeating patterns, but mixing up the colors. So I've got the XOXO here in the brick, and then I'm going to repeat it with the Power Suit on either side. And oh, on a side note while I'm stamping this XOXO is in my handwriting, which is kind of really fun. And honestly, I think you could leave the card just super simple, just like that. I'm going to keep going, and in order to make the pattern kind of offset a little bit, I'm just making sure I don't line it up perfectly with what I did above. I want the pattern to kind of look a little more random than that. Check it out. Super fun, simple, one-layered card. Oh, I love these X's and O's. They're so fun to play with. I have a fun idea for one more card. This one I want to use a bunch of the different items together. The green, the red, the gray, the black, all of them. So I'm going to start with the mandala doily image, and I'm going to place that in the center of my card, making sure that I press down really well. Next I'm going to use this little snowflake image, and I'm going to do it in this something blue color. And I'm just going to create a pattern around the mandala. using it to inspire where the next image is going to get stamped. Okay, so I have all my cards basically done, and they're basically just stamped. So that's creating a really fun background effect. But I'm going to show you a couple ways that if you want to take your cards like up a notch, what you can do. So the first one is using a blending tool. So I have just a Tim Holtz blending tool, and I'm going to just pick up some of the something blue color. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blend it around the edges here of the card. And when I'm blending, I always start off of the image and come on. That way you get less harsh lines. And just keep blending until you get a good blend. You could also use distress inks for this or something like that if you wanted to. And I feel like it just kind of creates a little more definition to the background, so it's not just white, like blue ink on white or whatever. So check that out. It totally makes a difference, I think, on that card. So you can blend across the whole background, or what you can also do is just use your blending tool to kind of ink around the edges of your card. So not blending the whole background, but more just inking around the edges to get a fine definition. And because we're trying to make one layer cards here, we're trying to make it super easy, and I feel like this is a super easy way to kind of make it look like you matted your image, and also to give your image a little definition. Love it. So you can see with the blue, that's what it looks like when I blend it all the way, and that's what it looks like when I just ink the edges. So I'm also going to do that with some of the other colors. So I love the way my cards are looking. I'll just show you. And they're still really like one layer. We haven't like added any additional paper or anything. We just really played with the stamps and the inks. And they're super simple. So one last touch I like to add, which I feel like just makes the cards go up a notch, is some sequins. And again, totally optional, but I feel like sequins kind of make the card look finished sometimes. And I really like using clear sequins. So check out this card. Super simple. The sequin adds just the fun detail, and it's done. Check it out. Now I just need to leave it to dry. That's fun. The sequins just add a little bit of glitter. Cute, cute. Check it out. So on this one, I added a bunch of sequins. I use the star ones to mimic the star stamp, and I feel like I just was able to fill in some of those empty spaces, and I love the like shiny reflective look it gives. Super cute. So there you have that one. Some blue sequins. I love this one. The black star sequins are just like the perfect pop of like contrast. Oh my gosh, I love the way that that one worked out. So I loved how much those black sequins look, so I added some of them to this card too, and I love it. I just feel like the black star sequins are so fun. Okay, there you have it. I finished all my cards, so I'll just show them to you so you can see what they look like. They're all a little bit different, and it didn't take me that long to make all of these. I feel like you can make some of them the same too, and that would go by faster. So here they are, I'll just show them to you. If you head over to the Wild Whisperer blog, which I'll leave a link for below, I'll have more detailed instructions for each card and a list of supplies that I used and detailed photos of each one if you want to check those out. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's super simple Christmas card tutorial using the Wild Whisperer Home for the Holiday stamp set. And I hope that it inspired you to make your own Christmas cards using the stamp set. I know that I'm not necessarily like a professional card maker or an expert at all, but I think that one of the things that's really fun with stamps is you can go wild, you can do your own thing, and it'll look really great. And honestly, the person receiving it will be happy with whatever they get too, right? Like I would be happy to get a handmade card from somebody, even if it's super simple like these. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time back on my blog, toribissel.com, or here on my YouTube channel, or on the Wild Whisper blog. See you soon. Bye.